In this video, I'd like to speak about the lesser known DAX Query View and some very interesting tricks around that. If you haven't explored the Query View yet, these tricks might just blow off your mind. Let's start. Trick number one, you can define temporary measures and columns in your model for the time being, and you can also evaluate them. Let me show you what do I mean. I'm working with a simple model. We have the sales table, the products table, and we have the calendar table. And in the products table, I have got a few measures. Maybe I want to define a few more measures, but I want to test them out first. I want to tweak them first before I start writing heavy-headed DAX calculations. Is there a sandbox environment to be able to do that? Yes, and that's the Query View. In case you have not gotten the Query View yet, let me first teach you how do you activate it, and then once you activate it, you will start having the screen. So go over to the file, then options. In options, you're going to see that you have something called as the preview. In the preview features, you're going to scroll down and you will see that write DAX queries with Copilot. I believe that's the option that you will have to check, and you will start to get the Query View. So now if you click on OK, I clicked on cancel, but if you click on OK, you might have to restart your Power BI. And once you do, you would have this new tab here called the DAX Query View. In here, you will write queries, and queries are generally nothing but tables. That's what the query means. It generates an output, and that is the output that is shown right here, and that must be a table. Now let's just start to define some temporary measures. The keyword that you have to keep in mind to be able to define a measure is obviously the define keyword. Once you write the define keyword, then you write whatever you would like to declare. So let's just say that I want to maybe define a measure, so I write a measure for that. Then you first write the name of the table which you would like to use to be able to write the measure. Note that when you're defining the measures in the Query View, a measure name is not qualified by its own until and unless you precede that with the name of the table. Remember this. So let's just say that I'm trying to create more measures, maybe in the calendar table or the products table. The table doesn't matter, but the table needs to exist. So let's just say that I'm trying to create more measures in the products table. So I can just maybe write products, and then I can start to define any particular measure. Let's just say that I don't really want to work with any of the existing measures, but I want to make a completely new measure. So I can just say new, and that's the name of the measure. That's how you write it. And I can just give it any value, perhaps 100. So let's just say that I want to write 100. And then if I want to kind of see whether this measure is 100 or not, I can just go ahead and write the evaluate statement. Now that I want to evaluate my query, so evaluate statement is a must. And then I can just use the summarize columns feature. I can give this a name, let's say C as in columns, and then I can just evaluate the new that I just declared. This is the measure that I just declared a while ago up on the top. I can close it, I can click on run, and you can see that obviously because I said 100, it actually runs 100. Now the thing is that because you declared a local measure which actually does not exist in the model as of now, you can write whatever code right here, howsoever long, howsoever short, and this is going to be playing around in the sandbox environment till the time it gives you the correct answer. So for instance, if I just maybe, hey, this is going to be equal to the value of total sales, and then this is going to be plus, let's say 100. So this is my new thing. And if I now click on run, it actually takes the total sales value and adds 100 to that, and you have the new measure right here. So you can actually use this to create measures in a sandbox environment and use that to whatever extent you'd like. Another thing that you can do, just as the way that we have declared a measure, is that you can declare or define a column of a table without physically creating a column. So I'm just going to go again and I'll say define. This time I want to define a column, and you can see that it actually gives you a red underline here, thinking that it's not able to recognize the keyword, but don't worry, it is actually going to frame a column or create a column. So I'll say that I want to make a column of a table, and of course column is made on a table, so I will have to obviously reference the name of the table. So I'll say, hey, consider that the name of the table is calendar, in which I'm trying to create a new column called daily sales, and this is the name of the new column. And then I have to write the formula, that what formula describes this column that I'm creating. Now in here I can say that, hey, I would like to reference my total sales measure. Now I'm saying that make a new column, and the column is going to be created in the calendar table, and the new column's name is daily sales, and the formula to be able to do that is nothing but total sales. That means this measure is then going to be evaluated in every single row of the calendar table. Now let's just write the evaluate statement. As per the evaluate statement, I should get daily sales. So I can just evaluate the calendar table, and I can just click on run, and you can see that even though it was giving us a red underline, the formula or the calculation or the definition of the query has run just fine. It has created the daily sales column, which is telling me that on every single day what was the sales, even though this physical column does not exist in the model as of yet. And that's what is beautiful about it. You can create as many columns, as many things right here without actually impacting your model, and this is nothing but your sandbox environment for creating measures and for creating columns. Quick interruption in the video in case you're liking the video so far and you're wondering that how can I learn these skills of writing good DAX, good data modeling, the M language behind Power Query, and all of the nuances of Power BI that makes it work. I have brilliant courses on Power BI, especially the Power Query part, the DAX part, data modeling part, and the M language part. In the courses, I take you from a beginner level and take you to more advanced concepts, try to explain you the logic of how things are working so that you feel confident in applying the learnings to even on your own data sets. Hundreds and hundreds of students have joined my courses and they have benefited a lot. In case you're interested, the link for the courses is going to be down in the description of the video. Let's get back to the video. Trick number 2, you can not just define measures, but you can also commit them from the query view. Please take a look. So at the moment, just a while ago, we defined a measure that we called it as new in the products table, and we gave it a pseudo calculation, which is where we were saying that take total sales and add 100 on top of that. That's what we said. Now, in case I really wanted to add this particular measure, you can see that as soon as I do that, I get this update model, add this new thing up on the top of this. And as soon as I click right here, it's actually going to add this particular measure in my model. And I now see this measure, which I can actually drag and drop in my visualizations. Not only this, you can also edit the existing measures and their definitions. Meaning, let's just say that I am saying that I want to maybe change the way the total sales measure is calculated. So I'm going to say, hey, I want to say I am trying to work with total sales, and the total sales calculation at the moment is whatever. I can just say, hey, why don't you sum the units column, which is obviously wrong, but I'm just doing something. So total sales is going to be the sum of the units column, which obviously is wrong, but I'm just doing it right here. So if I want to just maybe cancel the C right here, and I want to maybe write total sales right here. Now, as soon as I click on run, it actually gives me the sales number right here. But if I actually click on update, it is actually going to update the total sales calculation. And if I just go back and take a look at my visual is actually summing the sales. So if I just maybe go ahead and take a look at the total sales calculation, it has updated the calculation. And now you see sum of the sales of the units. Now, just be aware that once you're actually committing the measures here, for an instance, you can actually press Ctrl Z and get back to the original measure. But if you work a bit too much in Power BI, I guess you will lose the original definition of the measure and then you will use your original calculation. So just be a little wary of what you're doing here before you actually update the measure and overwrite your measure calculations. Before we proceed, two quick things. Just as the way that you can define the measure and you can also commit them using the query view, you cannot commit a column from the query view, nor could you change the definition of the existing column from the query view. These two things are there to keep in mind. For the measures, you can commit them, you can change the existing definition, but for columns, you can't commit a new column, nor can you change the existing definition of any column of the table. Let's move on. Another brilliant feature of query view is that you can reference measures and you can fix them, and you can actually go down the rabbit hole of tracing measures and their dependencies. None of that made sense? Please take a look. So I've got this simple table visual. We have year, quarter, total sales, and average units per day. Let's just say that you find something fishy and you would want to fix the measure and you want to take a look at that. Hey, what's the average units per day made of? And you just go click right here and you say that, okay, this particular measure, average units per day, is made up of further two measures, which is total units and unique dates. Well, you can now go ahead and start to select this particular calculation, and you might find that this particular calculation is then made up of two more calculations, and this calculation is made up of two more calculations, and then so on and so forth. How do you list down all the definition of the calculations in one shot, fix whatever you want to do, and update the model is something that the query view can do. It's not working at the moment for some reason, but once Microsoft fixes this issue, it's going to work once again. But theoretically, here is how it works. So I'm just going to go over to the DAX Query View right here, and I'm just going to go and click on average units per day. If I just right click on average units per day and click on quick queries, I can say something like define with references and evaluate. If I just click right here, it actually does nothing on the screen, but technically once this particular feature is fixed, and what this is actually going to show you is something like this. It is actually going to define all of the measures, that means average units per day, and one of the referencing measures, which is total units, has been brought right here, and the unique dates has been brought right here, and the definition of that. If there are more measures which are further referencing this and this, all of those measures are then going to be opened up and you can take a look at all of those calculations. If you want to fix any calculation, you can select that calculation, make a change, fix that calculation, and update the model as we have seen. But this is a brilliant feature that allows you to do this. At the moment, the way that I have been able to pull apart all of these calculations is through DAX Studio. If you have DAX Studio, you can use this feature in DAX Studio as well. But for now, this feature was existing in Power BI as well. But for some reason, it's not working at the moment, showing a bit of bugs. But I truly believe that this referencing of the measures and the measures within that is truly brilliant. My next trick is, how do you work with multiple multiple evaluate statements. This is going to be super interesting and super productive as well in case you work a lot while creating queries. So I've got a blank query right here, and I'm going to start to write an evaluate statement. Simple enough, I will say evaluate, and let's just say that I'm trying to pick up the top 5 rows of the calendar table, which are best according to total sales, like 5 days, best performing days in the entire data. So I'm going to write something like this: top N, I'm looking at 5 days from my calendar table, but not the literal first 5 rows. They are dependent upon a calculation, and that is nothing but my total sales calculation. Now, if I happen to click on run, obviously this is going to give me the 5 best days of the entire data where the most amount of sales has happened, and this is the data for that. Sure enough. Now let's just say I want to write another query. Similarly, I want to take a look at the 3 best products in the entire data depending upon total sales. So I can perhaps copy this particular top N thing, and I can just go ahead and write my second evaluate. So I can say, hey, I want to take a look at top 3, and I can say products, and I can do that, and basis of total sales. At the moment, you can see that my query contains 2 evaluate statements. If I click on the run statement at the moment, it is still going to evaluate the first one found, not the second one. The trick to be able to do that is that you select this entire evaluate and the query below that, and now if you happen to click on run, it is actually going to evaluate this. So you can literally have multiple evaluate statements within the same query, and you can evaluate any one that you like. And at the moment, I have used a very simple evaluation, which is top N function that returns a table. Should you have, you can write as complicated query as possible, have multiple evaluate statements, and evaluate the query that you like. This is awesome. My final trick, evaluate multiple measures. Let's just say that I'm working with this query and I have created a super new measure in the products table. I have just defined that this measure does not exist, and I give it a pseudo value of 100. Now, obviously, to be able to execute this particular query, I need to have the evaluate statement. But what do I evaluate? If I just say that, hey, I want to evaluate the super new measure, which is right here, it's not going to be evaluated because this is actually a measure that gives you a single scalar value, and the evaluate statement asks you for a table to be evaluated, not a single value. So what you can do as a trick is that if you surround the measure name in the curly brackets, it forms a pseudo table, and now the measure is going to be evaluated. If I click on run, you can see that it actually gives the value 100, and that's what you wanted. Another interesting thing is that if you have multiple measures that you want to evaluate, what you can do is you can form multiple rows here. So let's just say that I want to evaluate my super new measure, and I want to evaluate my units measure. All that I have done is surrounded all of the measures within the curly brackets and separated them with a comma, and that's pretty much it. That's my pseudo table, the curly brackets, the comma separates them in multiple rows. If I now click and run, and you can have that. The only slight trouble is that you have to kind of see this particular table and then see, oh, the second one is my sales and the third one is my units, so on and so forth. But in case you would also want to add column names, then you can use the row function instead. Here is how it works. So I'm just going to get rid of the curly brackets at the start and at the end, and I'm going to use the row function. So ROW, and I'm going to create a single row of a table. So the row function obviously gives you a table, but then you have to write the column name. So my first column is, let's say, the new measure that I just created, and here is the DAX code for that. And the second measure is nothing but my sales, and I can just write the column name sales, and here is the calculation for that. And my third is nothing but, let's say, my units, and here is the calculation for that. Now note that the row function only gives you one single row. In that row you have 3 columns, and here is the calculation for those 3 columns. And now if you commit on this, you're actually going to get the new, the sales, and the units, and that's the way you can have multiple columns added and those measures evaluated as well. There is another very interesting feature called visual calculations in Power BI. In case you haven't used them, that's the video that you should watch next, and I will share with you some of my best tricks on visual calculation. See you in that video. Cheers.